we're now joined by Dave Kaduri, Security and Emergency Preparedness Manager at the Chatham Kent Health Alliance. With 25 years in security leadership, Dave is very passionate about healthcare security with a focus on developing security teams that are successful in high-performance environments. As a pioneer in workplace violence prevention and an IMS background, Dave is driven to develop effective critical incident response plans for the safety of all within the organization and the community. Dave began his career working in industrial security at Windsor and Chatham Kent, both in contract and in-house security models. In 2011, Dave started as the first contract security manager at CKHA. He then transitions to the Security Emergency Preparedness Manager in 2015. Please welcome Dave.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Canadian Security Magazine, and Brian and Martin for the invitation and the opportunity today. Martin, it's quite an impressive security operations center, and I still have yet to tour for myself, but I look forward to it. I think you'll find some similarities with my presentation and Victoria's as well. So my name is Dave Kaduri, the Security and Emergency Preparedness Manager for the Chatham Kent Health Alliance. 20 years within industrial security, specializing in hazmat, workplace violence prevention. In-house and security models over the year. And I was the first security manager here at CKHA. So a little bit to Martin's presentation and how security and healthcare has evolved over the years, having its first presence here in the hospital. It's the Chatham Kent Health Alliance. We're a 200-bed facility in Chatham and rural Kent, including Walpole Island and Delaware First Nations. We have two sites, one's in Chatham, one's in Wallaceburg, which are about 20 minutes away from each other. There's 1,400 staff, 200 physicians, and 300 volunteers we have. Schedule 1 facility here in Chatham, as well with, we have 10 withdrawal beds, equipped with the state-of-the-art diagnostics and technology. And then we do see the same issues that you'll see in larger cities in terms of security related issues. Andrew would agree there's no other security role quite like a healthcare security. Healthcare security requires a skill set to be successful in a high performance environment. Experience with verbal de-escalation, physical intervention, and management of resistive behaviors are all effective with a specific skill set. And there's no real university or college diploma that you can obtain to prepare you for a role in healthcare security. Security Guard is given here at CKHA 1 year to complete their IHOS basic certification. This certification defines the role of security guard in healthcare environment. It allows the effective communication and all the acronyms that you learn within healthcare for a new security guard that may be overwhelming. When using technology, video, patient monitoring, staff duress, asset management, managing high-risk situations and identifying risks for possible high-acuity patients and addressing them, this program gives them that background and that foundation to excel. As a security manager, we developed a standard for the security positions. It was apparent that the contract service was not able to meet the standard. The challenge was retention of good employees. So having an annual turnover rate of 75% was apparent. It was apparent that changes were needed. We identified early that the skill set required for a high-performing security staff was not achievable with the wages offered for the position. The high turnover rates reflected negatively to our patients and staff, and never being able to develop a relationship with the security staff as faces were always changing. Security was being the first point of contact for any healthcare facility. A patient spending time in the hospital, you should be able to recognize them. Any with the security provider was carried over from other sites. So any negative interactions Because their uniform did not differ outside of the healthcare environment, it carried over that negative experience prior to even attending our hospital. Contract security provider was staffing the site. The wages offered and the duties and responsibilities, the expectations of the security team being physical in nature, as well as the province having increased minimum wage in January of 2019, leaving the difference in wages to under $1. The value of personal risk between minimum wage and CKHA was underrated. Wages, so other healthcare sites offered more competitive wages and for the same risks as well. Local sites without the risks associated with healthcare. Healthcare security has changed over the years. In today's environment, the expectation of a healthcare security guard involved in a physical intervention has become a daily occurrence as workplace violence incidents have skyrocketed through the province. The opioid epidemic has driven overdoses events, along with physical uncontrollable outbursts, leveraging healthcare security to apply physical controls and an intervention strategy in order to manage resistive behaviors without inflicting pain or injury. This requires a special skill set to be effective in this role. Being certified in a use of force program is the first step. An unskilled security team becomes a liability for the organization if the security team are all new and inexperienced. Understanding the different pieces of legislation that enables a security guard to apply physical techniques on private property, and providing patient family-centered care to the very population that drives the need for a physical intervention, balancing a minimal restraint policy and reducing risk of injury for everyone, including the patient. That the skill set requires submersing a security guard in a high-stress situation and to apply de-escalation strategies and physically engaging if needed. Combined with a delicate balance of effective communication with the team to minimize the risk of injury for everyone involved in the intervention. That takes time to be proficient. De-escalation requires intervention, beginning with an attempt to de-escalate. Managing resistive behaviors, we're using a specific set of physical holds in tandem with to establish containment of physical behaviors. Once containment is established, transitioning to mechanical or soft restraints can be attempted. If containment is lost, repositioning until containment is once again established, reducing the risk of injury for everyone. Communication requires to be efficient between team members, reducing risk of injury as well for everyone provided in the intervention. The proper application of restraints, articulating in a report, follow the amount of physical force applied to the amount of physical force needed to contain the physical aggression. Report identifies any risks and all involved in the intervention. And then leadership, taking the lead in the intervention, starting with attempting verbal de-escalation and communicating to teammates when it's time to engage physically, completing the intervention with a survey of restraints of in the application of them. I like to say with all my team is anger is a natural emotion. There's legal and illegal ways to vent anger. At CKHA, security through de-escalation encourages legal means to vent anger and aggression, reducing risk of injury for everyone, including the aggressor. This model offers a competitive wage and benefits are not offered within the contract service. So establishing a brand that represents CKHA their security team and their skill set in a high performance environment for our patients, visitors, and staff. Sorry, somewhere in there was pension. Well, the IHOS certified team that understands in a healthcare environment, CKHA achieved the IHOS program of distinction in 2016, but was not able to requalify until 2019 due to the high turnover rates. So this is back with the contract service. We initially qualified and achieved the designation, but weren't able to requalify due to the turnover rates. Interface of the security guard, the first point of contact, and for most patients, can have a positive impact on the patient experience. Employee development is improved with performance evaluations conducted on a regular timeline following a direct performance feedback. So these are things that I couldn't offer with the contract service, which is certainly a benefit with an in-house program. The security team leader is certified to instruct in the managing of resistive behaviors. So I do have a security team leader that is my in-house trainer, which is also a great benefit for this program. 2019, one of the directions and objectives of our strategic plan was safety. This transition aligned with this plan. HA's transition to a security team at a cost-neutral were increased to the cost of the established bill rate with the contract security provider. The amendment to the current collective agreement was completed with the bargaining unit to reflect language that supported an in-house model and also in a healthcare security environment. Uniforms were developed to meet the ministry standard. Vendor agreements are established as well. Management of resistive behavior training program established and aligned with the orientation. Hiring our human resources department with applicants meeting a set standard. Reviews are conducted by myself for applicants that meet the required standard, and biannual performance reviews are completed by myself, identifying strengths and needs for each employee. Personal protective equipment that aligns with our program and all of our training is provided for all of our security staff in our comprehensive training program. Back that I've gotten from my staff that transition that are still with me today, are still employed by CKHA today. At CKHA, all clinical and non-clinical staff are certified in the Safe Management Group Nonviolent Crisis Intervention Program, learning to recognize when behaviors are escalating and when to contact security directly for an intervention. This strategy of escalating behavior is reported to security by our clinical staff. CKHA will respond to the call, first applying de-escalation techniques to the escalating individual. CKHA security is responsible for the staff duress system, part of the organization-wide RTLS system. Security responds to all staff duress escalation or activations and an immediate response to a code white at either site. If the person continues to escalate, security is already present to provide a code white response, thus reducing the risk of injury. MORB security is still trained in de-escalation, so effective communications and management of resistive behaviors by an in-house MORB certified instructor. CKHA security are also certified in mechanical restraints. as a use of force option, as well as are trained in proper application of soft restraints and non-violent crisis intervention. UP is a point of contact for all Pinel soft restraint kits for CKHA. So we're like the controller of all of our kits and all the contents, and also providing that direction for proper application. They're involved directly with instruction training programs. Escalating behavior with our security metrics. When a patient is escalating, clinical staff call for a security response, always attempting to de-escalate first prior to any physical intervention. Applicable legislation for physical intervention is a must for use of force reports. So articulating that legislation that allows you to physically put your hands on somebody is a must. And the amount of force being applied needs to be articulated as well. Events happen after any exposure to any traumas. Stress management for a healthcare security team is necessary to maintaining the wellness of each of the team. Reporting excellence is a must here at CKHA for all of our security staff. We use the Omnigo Report Exec software to capture all of our security incident reports. Security is responsible for carrying out assignments related to staff safety plans as well, which is driven by the same software. Trespass persons are provided a security escort or attending for medical attention, then escorted off property after they've been discharged. Using the Avigilon Enterprise platform and analytics to support 2 sites with surveillance video, inside or outside, to assist in reporting events, booking marking video, and reviewing afterwards. Stress system module of the RTLS system is solely championed by security, responding to staff duress alerts, issuing badges, changing batteries, assigning badges to staff members, and providing all education around them. Risk reports are entered by security for all events that pose a risk to the organization. Security completes provincial use of force reports as indicated. And security is responsible for preparing our helipads. We have helipads at both sites. We're responsible for preparing them for air ambulances and provide escorts. Security is responsible for transporting patients to and from our morgues and all applicable documentation in order to release a discharged patient. Here's our program of distinction in 2019, prior to COVID. Or sorry, that's as COVID started. Safety culture. So safety is one of CKHA's values. Safety culture at CKHA has become a priority for all patients, staff, and visitors. Security, or CKHA security, is a large contributor for this change and boost in the value of this culture for recruitment of new staff. The success of the transition to the in-house model relied heavily on internal education. Security tracking escalating behaviors compared to code-white statistics established a workplace violence mitigation strategy. Early intervention of security toward escalating behaviors, non-physical interventions compared to physical. Security trainers of a non-violent intervention program and soft restraints identified the security team as the experts for the organization. In-house management of resistant behavior trainer offered a rapid training program based on location being removed from the not having to rely on trainers to come from outside of our cozy location in southwestern Ontario. As we would hire new people and rely on that training to be timely. Provides self-restraint training for all staff and in the organization. Workplace Violence Committee compares escalating behavior statistics to code whites. So escalating behavior responses from security is deemed a mitigation strategy to deter physical violence in the workplace. Many reports have surfaced regarding the notable change in security at CKHA. So part of our positive outcomes. Patients have reported their positive experience was directly affected by CKHA security. Our clinical staff have reported feeling safe, knowing their security team will be there when faced with violence in our hospital. New staff coming to CKHA have reported that the CKHA security team directly contributes to a sense of safety. Our EM services partners have reported they noticed a marked change in the quality of service that our security team provides. Events in the past relied heavily on police presence to be effective in establishing containment of physical aggression. Containment of of the aggressor is completed and applied restraints prior to law enforcement arrival. As an acceptable loss, CKHA security experience has become an asset for police services. As well known, so we lose some of our staffing to our police services because they look for that experience within their applicants, which has become an acceptable loss for CKJ. Well, I also sit on the Program Advisory Council for the Police Foundation's program at St. Clair College, assisting in the development of potential candidates for CKHA security. So there's a photo of us at this year's IHOS Healthcare Security and Safety Week celebration and some of our award recipients. There are some links to our providers, our IHOS Security and Industry Guideline and our PISA standard, which we look to comply with as we build our programs. Stay Safe training is our management of resistive behavior training that we use. It also comes with a subject matter expert should we have to rely on that. As I always say, security is always seen as too much until the day it's not enough.
Great. Thank you very much for your presentation, Dave. At the moment, I don't see any questions. So, well, thank you for your time. Appreciate you speaking today. Yeah, and thank you for joining us for your presentation.
Thank you.